The first night in that house, I realized I wasn't free to leave. At 10 p.m., I shut my bedroom door. At midnight, the power went out, not just in my room, but in the entire house. Everything clicked off at once: lights, outlets, Wi-Fi. Even my phone charger died. The silence that followed was wrong. Not nighttime quiet, but dead quiet. No hum from the fridge, no pipes, no faint buzz of electricity. I went to open the door, but it didn't budge. The knob turned, but the door stayed locked from the outside. I shoved my shoulder against it, pulled harder. Nothing. The frame didn't even rattle. It was sealed tight, like a cage. I checked the window, painted shut. Not cracked, not old, sealed, like it was never meant to open. That's when it hit me. The blackout wasn't random. The lock wasn't broken. It was all intentional, a routine. I sat there in the dark, realizing the lease I'd signed wasn't about rent. It was about control. At exactly 8 a.m., the lock turned. The door opened from the outside. No knock, no warning. Just the click of metal, the knob twisting, and then air shifting in the doorway. Daniel stood there, neatly dressed like he hadn't slept at all. His shirt was crisp, his hair combed. He held a mug of coffee like it was any other morning. He didn't acknowledge that I'd been trapped in that room all night. Didn't mention the power outage. Didn't explain why the door had a lock on the outside. He just nodded once and walked away. I stepped into the hallway. The house felt wrong in daylight. The living room looked staged. A couch, 2 chairs, and a coffee table set at perfect right angles. Nothing personal. No remote on the table, no shoes kicked off near the door, no clutter. Like no one had ever actually sat there. The kitchen was the same. Counters clear, appliances shining, sink bone dry. I opened the fridge. That's when my stomach tightened. Every single item was labeled. Milk, eggs, bread, even apples. Each with masking tape, neat handwriting.
Initials and dates. Not just Daniel's food, mine too. The milk carton I'd bought yesterday was already marked with my initials. The apple I'd shoved in without thinking had a strip of tape with today's date written in ink I didn't recognize. I hadn't done that. And if Daniel hadn't been in my room, how did he know exactly what I brought home? I put the apple back and shut the door slowly, feeling the cold air against my hands. Someone was keeping track of me, not just where I was, but what I consumed, like I was inventory. That night, I couldn't relax. I kept looking at the walls, the bookshelf, the corners. I couldn't stop thinking about the fridge, the labels, the perfect handwriting, the fact that someone, somehow, knew exactly what I'd done. At 10 p.m., like the night before, the lock on my door clicked. This time I listened carefully. Not an accident, not a jam. A clean, metallic sound, sharp and deliberate, sealing me inside. At midnight, the blackout hit. Every light gone, every outlet dead. The silence that followed felt thicker now, heavier, like the house was holding its breath. I sat in the dark, staring into nothing, but I couldn't shake the thought. I'm being monitored. When morning came, Daniel unlocked the door at exactly 8 a.m. Same routine, no explanation, no conversation, just the same nod, the same eerie normalcy. That day, I searched the room. Not casually, I tore it apart. I checked the outlets, the smoke detector, under the desk. Nothing. Then I looked at the bookshelf. The books weren't worn, no cracked spines, no creased pages, like props. Between 2 thick hardcovers, I saw it. A tiny black lens, no bigger than a pea, tucked in just enough to hide in the shadows. It pointed directly at the bed. My chest went tight. I pulled the wire out of the wall with a shaking hand. 5 seconds later, there was a knock. Not frantic, not loud, just steady. 3 taps. right on the other side of the door. Don't touch the equipment. After the camera, I stopped pretending it was normal. I started writing things down. Every detail, every sound, every time. Day 3, door locks at exactly 10 p.m. Day 3, power cuts at exactly 12 a.m. Day 3, door unlocks at exactly 8 a.m. No variation, no randomness. It was clockwork. Every morning, Daniel stood in the hall, perfectly dressed, holding coffee. He placed it on the desk like a hotel service tray. He never asked if I wanted it. He never stayed to talk. Just set it down, nodded, and left. I tested things. I left a wrapper in the trash can. The next day, it was gone. I moved a book on the shelf. When I woke up, it was back in place. I left my shoes in the middle of the floor. They were lined up neatly against the wall the following morning. I never heard the door open. I never heard footsteps in the night. But things were always adjusted. By the 5th day, I was barely sleeping. I stayed awake until midnight, waiting for the power to die. As soon as the clock ticked over, the silence dropped like a curtain. Every outlet, every light, gone. The quiet wasn't natural. It wasn't like city quiet, with faint hums in the distance. This was surgical, engineered. I would lie in bed, eyes open, waiting for a sound. Sometimes I swore I could hear breathing on the other side of the door. It didn't feel like living in a house. It felt like living in an experiment. I waited for a day when the routine felt looser. At 8 a.m., the door unlocked like always. No coffee today, just silence and an open hall. I listened. Shower, water off, footsteps, front door. The soft change in air when a house exhales someone. Then nothing. I counted to 300. Then I moved. The room at the end of the hall looked like a home office no one used. Desk, monitor, keyboard at a perfect 90-degree angle. No dust, no coffee rings, no pens. The computer was already on. No password screen.
Just a clean desktop with a single folder in the center. Names, dates, dozens of them. Each name had a month attached. Some had 2. A few had only a week. I opened one at random. Video files. Same room, same angle, same lens glare I'd seen on my own bookshelf. Different tenants. Clips of people sleeping, eating, standing in the dark at midnight listening like I had. One pacing in circles until their knees gave out. Another whispering into a pillow, lips moving in prayer. Each file had a sidebar. A live chat window ran next to the video like sports commentary. Usernames, emojis, short messages. Compliant, defiant, remove. Below the chat, a small panel with numbers, viewer count, average watch time, tips. Every spike lined up with fear. When a tenant shook the locked doorknob, the count jumped. When midnight hit, it doubled. I opened another folder. Same room, different bedding. A clip labeled Night 12, Food. The tenant discovers the labels in the fridge. Chat explodes. People post timestamps. He saw it. She noticed. Moved the apple back. There were polls attached to some of the clips. Short timers. 2 choices. Always the same. Stay or disappear. The ones marked disappear had no more files after that date. I kept scrolling, faster now. Names I didn't recognize. Moving out dates that didn't include forwarding addresses. Notes in the margins like inventory cards. Good sleeper. Panics early. Gentle. At the bottom of the folder list was a new entry. My name. Today's date. I clicked. A live feed opened. Not the bedroom, the office. Top down, wide angle. Me. Sitting at the desk, staring at the screen. The chat started moving. Finally. He found it. Don't touch anything. Stay. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. The viewer count ticked up. Hundreds, then more. The mouse on the screen didn't belong to me anymore. A box slid over the live feed space as if someone else had control. A poll loaded. 5-second countdown. 2 options. Stay. Disappear. I didn't hear him enter. 1 second I was staring at the screen, frozen, watching strangers type messages about me in real time. Then I felt it. A presence behind me.
Daniel's reflection appeared faintly in the dark monitor glass, standing almost close enough to touch me. I hadn't heard the door. I hadn't heard a step. He was simply there. His hand settled lightly on the back of my chair. Not gripping, not restraining, just resting. Enough to let me know he had complete control. I couldn't turn around. I couldn't even look away from the screen. The chat was exploding, hundreds of comments a minute, my name flying past in a blur. Laughing emojis, knife emojis, people typing stay or disappear over and over. The poll timer reached 0. Results didn't show right away. The bar just filled and reset, ready for the next vote. Daniel leaned down, close enough that I could smell his cologne, sharp and sterile, like disinfectant. His voice was steady, calm, almost soothing. This is what they pay for. They don't want the easy parts. They want the break. They want to see how far you go before you collapse. On the screen, another vote opened. The same 2 choices. Stay, disappear. My own face filled the feed now, captured from a different angle. A tiny lens somewhere in the corner of the office. My jaw clenched, shoulders tight, pupils wide. The audience wasn't just watching me find the truth. They were watching me realize I'd already lost. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't gloat. He just whispered like he was sharing a trade secret. The routine comforts them. The locks, the blackout, the food, it's all structure. But when structure cracks, that's when they pay the most. I swallowed hard, throat dry. He tapped the desk once with his finger, almost like a signal, and the chat went wild. New votes surged in, scrolling too fast to read. The poll bar climbed, reset, climbed again. Stay, disappear. Stay, disappear. And for the first time, I realized it wasn't Daniel who would decide what happened to me. It was them, the strangers on the other side of the screen. The poll bar kept filling, resetting, filling again. My name at the top of the screen, glowing like a headline. Stay, disappear. Each vote landed like a heartbeat, faster and faster, a rhythm I couldn't ignore. Daniel's hand never left the back of my chair. He didn't grip tighter. He didn't need to. His calmness was worse than anger, like this wasn't a threat at all, like it was just procedure. My breathing got shallow. I couldn't take my eyes off the live feed, couldn't block out the comments. Make him beg, cut the lights, disappear. The bar tilted, votes piling higher on one side. I couldn't watch anymore. I stood up fast enough to knock the chair back. Daniel didn't flinch. He just straightened his posture as if he'd been expecting it. The door. I didn't think. I just ran. The knob turned. For the first time since I'd arrived, it wasn't locked. The hallway blurred as I sprinted down it. My bare feet slapped against the cold floor. I didn't look behind me. The front door opened with the same clean click as every lock in the house. Not jammed, not barricaded, not broken. It opened because someone let it. I bolted outside into daylight. Air hit my lungs like I'd been underwater for days. I didn't stop running. Across the yard, down the street, until the rows of houses ended at a gas station. I stumbled inside barefoot, chest heaving, and only then did I look back. The street behind me was empty. The house sat quiet in the distance, blinds drawn, no sign of life. I wanted to call the cops. I wanted to show them everything, the lock, the fridge labels, the camera, the computer. But I knew what they'd say. The lease was legal. The locks were security. The cameras, house monitoring. Nothing I could prove. I left town the next day. New apartment, new lease. My name scribbled onto the paper with shaking hands. But even now, when the clock hits midnight, I feel it. The silence, the absence of hums, the weight of eyes. And sometimes, when I check my phone too late at night, I swear I catch a flash, a chat window, a poll, my name, still waiting for the vote.
Not every lease is about rent. Sometimes it's about ownership, and the moment you sign, you may already belong to someone else. If you ever feel the silence at midnight, remember, it could be the hum that's missing, or the eyes that are watching. Stay close to the fire, my friend. Out there, the vote may already be cast, and here at least, you're safe for now.